Welcome students to my online history classes. Now I invite you to the part 2 of Banda Singh Bahadur. We have already talked about his early life. Now we will be talking about his conquest or his mission. Now, my next three slides will be talking about where all did he conquer. First, he started with the attack on Sonepat, seizure of royal treasuries, conquest of Samana, conquest of Ghuram and Mustafabad, conquest of Kapuri. Then attack on Sudhora, battle of Ropar and battle of Chaparchiri, conquest of Jamuna, Ganga Doab and Jalandhar Doab, conquest of Amritsar, Batala, Kannauр and Pathankot, attack of Mughals on Lohgarh, conquest of hilly areas, and the Battle of Gurdas Nangal. So these are your slides on the battles. Let's just pick these battles one by one. Right. Now, after reaching Punjab, Banda Singh Bahadur released the Hukamnamas or the orders which Guru Gobind Singh had issued in the name of the Sikh. Thousands of Sikh rallied around him within few days, ready to fight and die under his banner. So he was all set to embark on his journey to fulfill his mission to avenge the atrocities committed on the Sikh community. After this, Banda Singh Bahadur embarked on his military exploits. The purpose of this exploit was to put an end to the tyrannical rule of the Mughals, which the people of Punjab, both Hindus and Muslims, had been under. Right. So he started his attack from Sonepat. In 1709, he along with his 500 Sikh attacked Sonepat. Now the moment he attacked Sonepat, the Faujdar of Sonepat, when he heard the news of the attack, he fled away to Delhi without offering any resistance. So in this way, the Sikh were able to capture Sonepat without any difficulty, and this victory boosted the morale of the Sikh. Now, from the Sonepat, he moved towards Samana. But before he moved towards Samana, when he reached Kathal, he received the information that a large treasury was being taken to Delhi. The guards who were carrying the treasury were to halt at a village named as Buna. Now, Banda Singh Bahadur, he did not want to let this opportunity slip off his hands, so at once made the attack. He put to death the guard members and plundered the royal treasury. Later, this was distributed among his rank and file. So first conquest is at Sonepat. Now he was moving towards Samana when at Kathal he received the information that a large treasury is being taken to Delhi. At Buna, where the treasury was to halt, he looted that. Now from there he moved on to Samana. Now in Samana lived three important people. One, Jalaluddin. Number two, Sashal Beg and Bashal Beg. Who were they? Now, Jalaluddin was the executioner who had martyred Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And Shashal Beg and Bashal Beg, they also lived in Samana, who had bricked up alive two younger sons of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Banda Singh Bahadur wanted to avenge these murders, so in November 1709 AD, he made a fierce attack on Samana. The Sikh killed 10,000 Muslims and reduced them to a small number. Now, so from Sonepat, he moved towards Samana. In Samana lived Jalaluddin, Sashal Beg and Bashal Beg. Now from there, he moved towards Ghuram. The Pathans of this place could not offer any resistance and fled away. Banda Bahadur plundered the town and destroyed it. Then he attacked Mustafabad. Even the Faujdar of Mustafabad, along with his 2,000 soldiers, he did try to resist Banda, but he had to give in before the enthusiasm of the Sikh. As a result, Muslims fled for life, leaving their guns behind the battlefield. Now, many of you might wonder that maybe in their books the sequence of conquest is different, but I think there might be certain changes, but the conquest I have mentioned about have been universally written in all the history books. So again, a quick revision from Sonepat to Samana, now to Ghuram, now to Mustafabad. Next. Next, he reached as Kapuri. Now, the ruler of Kapuri at that time was Kadamuddin. He was a cruel ruler and he had inflicted numerous atrocities on Hindus. So, Banda Singh Bahadur wanted to teach him a lesson, so he set the Haveli of the ruler Kadamuddin on fire. Afterwards, Kapuri was ruthlessly plundered. From Kapuri, now he moved towards Sadhora. The ruler of Sadhora at that time was Usman Khan. He was very much famous, notorious for his cruelties. He did not allow the Hindus to celebrate their function. Cows were slaughtered in front of the Hindu houses. So this is how he was troubling the Hindus of the Punjab. Number two, he also got Pir Bidu Shah tortured to death. Now, Pir Bidu Shah was the same person who had helped Guru Gobind Singh Ji in the Battle of Bangani when the Pathans deserted him. In order to avenge these insults, Banda Singh Bahadur launched a vigorous attack on Sadhura. He put to sword such large number of Muslims that the place came to be known as the Katalgari. So from Sonipat to Samana to Ghuram to Mustafabad to Kapuri to Sadhora and now to Sarhand. Now, Banda Singh Bahadur started making preparations to attack Sarhand. Now, the Faujdar of Sarhand, the Wazir of Sarhand, was the Wazir of Sarhand or the Faujdar is he was named as Wazir Khan. Now, because even Wazir Khan came to know that his preparations of making an attack on Sarhand, so on one hand, Banda Singh Bahadur, he needed help from the Sikh. So what happened was the Sikh from Maja and Doaba, these areas, the Sikh from these areas, they started moving towards Banda Singh Bahadur to join the army to fight against Wazir Khan. Now, when Wazir Khan came to know about this, he wanted to stop the Sikh from being a part of Banda Singh Bahadur. So he ordered the Nawab of Malerkotla, Sher Muhammad Khan, to take action against the Sikh. A fierce battle took place between the two at Ropar. In this battle, the Sikh fought so valiantly, so bravely, that the Muslim soldiers fled from the battlefield. So it was indeed a great victory from the Sikh. So by this time, the Sikh from Maja and Doab also joined Banda Singh Bahadur. Now, conquest of Sarhand is one of the most significant victories of Banda Singh Bahadur. The Faujdar of Sarhand, Wazir Khan, was the sworn enemy of the Sikh. He got two younger sons of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Zorawar Singh and Fateh Singh, bricked alive in the wall. He not only got these young, Sahibzadas bricked alive in the wall, but he also got Ajit Singh and Jujhar Singh martyred in the Battle of Chamkaur Sahib. One of the two Pathans sent by Wazir Khan stabbed Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Owing to these reasons, Banda Bahadur now wanted to teach him a lesson. When Wazir Khan came to know about it, now we all know that he tried to stop the Sikh from the Maja and Doab for joining Banda Singh Bahadur, but now he was clear that the forces were all ready to fight against him, so he raised the banner of the religious war, that is jihad. So as he raised the banner of jihad, Muslims in large number collected under his banner. On 12th May 1710, both armies met at Chapadchiri, about 16 kilometers from Sarhand, where a bloody battle was fought. Wazir Khan's gun created such a havoc among Sikh that they did not lose heart, because I think at this time the Sikh did not have so much of guns as these Mughal Faujdar or the Mughal army had, but they had the fervor in them. So Banda Bahadur raised the cry of Sat Shri Akal and jumped into the battlefield with full fury. The attack unnerved the Muslim. Fateh Singh killed Wazir Khan and it created panic among the Muslim soldiers and they fled to save their lives. The Sikh, however, chased them and killed the soldiers ruthlessly. The corpse of Wazir Khan was hung upside down on a tree and left at the mercy of vultures and eagles. On 24th May, Sikh entered Sirhind and plundered it. Banda now became the master of territories between Jamuna and Satluj, yielding an annual revenue of 36 lakh rupee. He also made Lohgarh, Mukhlispur as his capital. Now, this war is quite important because he actually could fulfill the mission that he was on. He killed Wazir Khan, the one who had brought so much of pain to the Guru by not only martyring his sons and also breaking them alive, also killing Guru Gobind Singh Ji. So by killing a person like Wazir Khan, he was able to fulfill his mission. A little glimpse of how this war looked. If you could see that how the war is being handled, the spears, and this is Wazir Khan and how he was killed. Fateh Singh just killed him, and afterwards his corpse was hung upside down on a tree so that vultures and birds could just eat his corpse. Now, by this time, Banda Singh Bahadur had become little arrogant. That is what I was going through. A lot many books by Khushwant Singh, by J.S. Karewal, by Hariram Gupta, and I could just comprehend that yes, after this battle, he could actually feel the power in him. Whereas Guru reminded him that never let the victories, get that pride in you, but that did come afterwards. Now, and he was also very confident that how he had defeated Sonepat, Samana, Ghuram, Mustafabad, Kapuri, then Sadhora, and this victory against Wazir Khan was the cherry on the cake. Now, after the victory of Sarhand, now he paid attention towards Jamuna Ganga Doab. He brought Saharanpur under his subjugation and its name was changed from Saharanpur to Bhavnagar. He also brought Bihar, Nanota, Ambeta under his control. After these victories, now he proceeded towards Jalalabad. Here he subdued the Faujdar of Jalalabad, Jalal Khan. Though he inflicted crushing defeat on Faujdar, but he could not take possessions of the fort. Encouraged by the victories of Banda Singh Bahadur, the Sikh of Amritsar, Batala, Kalnor, Pathankot also revolted against the cruel Mughal rulers. Because one thing you have to understand is that Punjab at this time is only a Suba, one of the Suba on which the Mughals were ruling. So looking at how Banda Singh Bahadur was proceeding, how he was victorious, the Sikh of Amritsar, Batala, Kannauр and Pathankot revolted against their cruel Mughal governors. Now, with the cooperation of Banda Singh Bahadur, the Sikh could easily take possession of these areas. Now, by this time, the initial time period that he's fighting is only against the Mughal Faujdar or the Mughal governors. But by this time, the Mughal governor, the Mughal ruler at this time was Bahadur Shah, right? And now we will just take into account how the main Mughal army or the Mughal rulers also fought against Banda Singh Bahadur. Now, this is attack on Lohgarh by Bahadur Shah. Now, Lohgarh is a historic town in Bilaspur Tehsil of Yamunanagar, district of Haryana in India. It was the capital of the Sikh state under Banda Singh Bahadur from 1710 to 1716. Situated halfway between Nahan in Himachal Pradesh and Sadura. The increasing power of Banda Singh Bahadur was a challenge for Mughals. Now, obviously, Mughals could not see how Banda Singh Bahadur was victorious, how he was, capturing armies after armies. Therefore, Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah decided to crush the power of Banda Singh Bahadur. He sent a large army of 60,000 under his general Munim Khan to Punjab. The army suddenly attacked Banda Singh Bahadur's capital Lohgarh on the 19th December 1710. Although the Sikh continued to resist the Mughal army from inside the Lohgarh fort. But this time the situation was different because Banda Singh Bahadur was not fighting against a Faujdar or a governor. Now he was fighting against the Mughal army. So as the provisions were running short, it was not possible for the Sikh to sustain the resistance for a very long. So what Banda Singh Bahadur did? Banda Bahadur escaped in the jungles of Nahan, and next day when Mughals took possession of the fort, they were disappointed to know that they missed the catch. Now this is a little glimpse of the Battle of Lohgarh, right? Now, when Bahadur Shah came to know that Banda Singh Bahadur is not been captured, he was very, very angry. So he issued orders to the chief of Nahan and the surrounding areas to capture Banda Bahadur wherever they found. On the other hand, Banda too started his preparation because now he knew that his war or his fighting is not going to be against the Faujdar or the governors. Now it will be fought against the Mughal emperor. So for fighting against a Mughal emperor, he needs to have his resources. So that is why he issued hukamnamas to Sikh, calling them to join him at once at Kiratpur. Consequently, the Sikh flocked to him from all quarters. Banda Singh Bahadur now felt strong to withstand the onslaught of the Mughals. First, he defeated Raja Bhim Chand of Kehlur. Subsequently, the chiefs of Mandi, Kullu, and Chamba, they readily submitted before Banda Singh Bahadur, because somewhere down the line he knew that these hill chiefs will be on the side of Mughals. So the first thing he did was that he defeated them. Now, another important incident which happened here was that the chief of Chamba, Raja Uday Singh, married his beautiful daughter to Banda Singh Bahadur, and a son named as Ajay was born to him in 1711. Now, an important point to make here is that Guru Gobind Singh, in his instructions, had told him very firmly that he will not marry. In fact, he will lead a life of chastity. But here he actually disobeyed what Guru had instructed, and he married the daughter of the chief of Chamba. Now the question for you is, if you could name the lady with whom he got married, you can just leave that name in the comment section in my video. Right. Now, so this is where the Lohgarh attack on Lohgarh actually finished, but then followed by the attack on Lohgarh, Banda Bahadur, he conquered the hilly areas, as I told you before, because he knew that these hill chiefs are the allies of the Mughal. Now, by this time, in 1713, now the new ruler, Mughal emperor, was Farrukh Siar. He commanded Abu Samad Khan, the Subedar of Lahore, to crush the power of the Sikh and to capture Banda Singh Bahadur. Now, news of the reappearance of the Sikh and their conquest in Punjab caused great alarm in the Mughal court. On the instruction of Farrukh Siar, Abdul Samad Khan made a surprise attack on Gurdas Nangal, a small village from 6 kilometers from Gurdaspur in April 1750, because they were taken on surprise. Now this was their policy of just a surprise attack on Banda Bahadur, and the attack was on the Gurdas Nangal, which is a small village 6 kilometers from Gurdaspur. Now Banda Bahadur and his men took shelter in the Haveli of Duni Chand. Now, important thing to note here is that this is the last battle of Banda Singh Bahadur, and at this time he is fighting against the Mughal Emperor Farrukh Siar and his commander Abu Samad Khan, who was the Subedar of Lahore. The imperial forces laid siege to Haveli, which lasted for about 8 months. So you can imagine what might be the plight of the Sikh staying in that Haveli. The Sikh were reduced to great extremities. They had to eat their horses, mules, and even oxen, because for 8 months they were not prepared. They did not have the enough resources. Now, at this critical point, Banda Singh Bahadur developed some differences with Baba Binod Singh. Now, if you remember the first video, Baba Binod Singh was one of the 5 Panch Pyaras which Guru Gobind Singh had instructed to be a part of his mission. Now, Baba Binod Singh, he wanted that they should leave the place and escape to the hills, because he felt that they are not better prepared. And as they had already done, even in terms of your attack on Lohgarh, they had escaped, they had, kind of reconciled everything, and then they had attacked again and they were victorious. On the other hand, Banda Singh Bahadur, he thought that if they could, resist the Mughal army for a little longer time until the monsoons, they will compel the Mughals to raise the siege. As Binod Singh did not agree, so he and some of his men slipped out under the cover of darkness. And ultimately, Banda Bahadur was left alone, and he, along with his companions, were forced to surrender on December 7th, 1715 AD. Abu Samad Khan arrested Banda Bahadur along with 200 Sikh from Gurdas Nangal, but to please the Mughal Emperor Farrukhsiyar, he arrested another 540 Sikh on his way to Lahore. On February 1716 AD, they were sent to Delhi, where a big procession of the Sikh prisoners were paraded. Banda Bahadur was put in an iron cage, placed upon an elephant, followed by rest of the prisoners, all put in chains. Hundreds of Sikh were beheaded every day, and life was promised to them if they embraced Islam. And if they refused, they had to suffer. They had to accept death as the only ultimatum. So this was how Banda Singh Bahadur could actually see what all events were unfolding in front of him. On June 19th, 1716, now came the turn of Banda Bahadur. Again, he was given as the usual choice as his other fellow members were being given, that either he chooses Islam or he will have to die. And he refused to give up his faith. So what now the next happened is actually which will just kind of cause you so much of that kind of feeling, that how much of pain that he must have gone through, but he was so much with his faith. His younger son Ajay, who was only 4 years old, was hacked to pieces in front of him. The executioner dragged out his quivering heart and thrust it into the mouth of Banda Bahadur. Thereafter, the eyes of Banda Bahadur was taken out one by one, then his hands and feet were cut off. Then he was hacked to pieces, limb by limb. And then every time a piece was being cut, he was asked, do you still want to be Sikh, or are you ready to accept Islam? Because if you say you are ready to accept Islam, then you may be spared. Banda Bahadur remained calm and serene amidst these tortures. Thus, Banda Bahadur died like a hero. A little glimpse of what really happened, the way how he was martyred, if you could just look at these pictures, will actually show how he was martyred so brutally, but he remained calm and serene. Now, this is part 2 of my video on his conquest, and followed by martyrdom, which you will be writing in the conclusion. So this brings me to the end of this topic, Banda Singh Bahadur. Part 1, I have talked about his early life, and part 2, I have talked about his conquest. So I would suggest you, all my students, to go through these slides 1 or 2 times, then go back to your textbook, read what is written there. I'm sure you will be able to comprehend the topic very nicely. And once you've done the topic, go to my another video which I have discussed about the type of questions which have come, so you will get a fairly idea how are you on the right track, are you able to solve the questions, the university questions that I've talked about. So this is all in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will be waiting for your comments. I've told you, I think, a number of times that I just don't want the positive comments. I do want the negative, because sometimes if there are any shortcomings or weaknesses in my videos, or you want me to talk about certain other aspects, I will do that, and that is how I will grow as a teacher. So thank you so much for watching this video. Happy learning, and see you all with a new video. That will be the next video will be on what were the reasons that Banda Singh Bahadur was successful in the early stages, but later he failed in the end. What could be the reasons for that? So coming up with that video after this. Thank you so much for watching this video.